Okay, guys, welcome to the call. This is going to be such a fun call. We have two sisters on this call who are the craziest people ever. I really want Denise to tell you about her scuba trip with my dad. This is hilarious. When we went on the cruise, it's just so much fun. I was actually trying to find one of those pictures. I was going to put it up. I don't know if you have one, but they've been diehard Sisel fans for a long time. And geez, I don't know when we met, but anytime they can go to a meeting, even if they have to drive for hours and hours and hours, they will. It's awesome. They are product ingredient junkies. They will go to any length to try and get some information and they just absolutely love it. But the great thing about these two girls is two women, is they love the products. They're, a total testimony buffet there with them. And they have some great stories. And one thing I've noticed on our call is when I come back and I talk about some of the different testimonials I've heard as I go to like Ohio or, Wisconsin, Indiana, and come back with some of those stories that you guys absolutely love it. And I thought that I would go and kind of grab some of these testimonials and have them on. Anybody that knows Denise knows that she's kind of famous for her brain vitality testimonial. And the first time I heard it, I just cried because, I have a son and we all relate to each other in different ways. We relate to each other on an emotional level. And this business is so emotional. I have a son and I've talked to you about, some of my kids and the issues they've had. And oh my gosh, my dad's hilarious. He was one who would just be super blunt. And you know how your kids go through the teen years and they have their acne. If we'd walk in and he'd be at his desk, he'd just right away say, "Colton, you've got an acne problem." And I remember Colton looking at me like, "Please, Mom." But then Dad was all about, and here's what you're going to take. Do this, this, this. Dad just honed right in. And Denise's story, and I'm so excited for you to hear it, is just that type of thing. She has a son, ADHD issues. I had a son actually exactly like that. It is so difficult. You want so bad to help them find a way for them to be able to be in a classroom, get along with their classmates, do their homework, not get too, overstimulated, stimulate others. And as Denise told this story for the first time, it just brought tears to my eyes. It's just made me so sad. A lot of you guys will recognize a lot of the frustrations that she went through, and she'll tell you a little bit about her. These two are sisters. One cool fact that I didn't put on my invitation is these two sisters married two brothers. And I thought, like, when I'd known these guys is that right? No. How did I say? I've been saying this to everybody. Denise, you said it.
No.
I need Milo. Milo, I saw him on here. I tell everybody that you guys are married to brothers.
I didn't say anything.
Not married.
Did you divorce his brother?
Not married. And trust me, she wouldn't marry my husband's brother.
No. Oh my gosh. All right. That's okay. I told you this call would be fun. And they are. And I was talking to Denise and I said, it would be fun to have Linette on. And Linette says she's got a great testimonial for the toothpaste. And I said, well, that goes great with brain vitality. And she, we laugh, but but that's what we'll do. We'll connect them somehow and have a good time. They're just so much fun to be with. I loved hanging out with them. The cruise was absolutely amazing. And you've got to tell your cruise story with my dad, Denise, and how that was. They're both super busy in their life. We've talked about having them on earlier, especially around the holidays. They're super busy. Linette owns her own, it's not a flower shop, it's a giant nursery.
Greenhouse. Greenhouse.
And so she's super busy with that. Sounds very popular in her areas. I see lots of people post about it. So these guys never sit still. I will say a cool fact that I know for a fact And that is Denise. I don't know for how long, was a cop. How long were you a cop for, Denise?
About 31 and a half years.
Yes. So, and we kind of laugh because you even stand like a cop, like, you'll laugh. And it's very cool. I remember when I heard that.
Liesel, that's not true. I was never a cop.
If you don't mess with me, like my whole world's shattered.
I'm kidding. That part is true. I was a cop for 31 years.
But, and I love that. She's just, somebody who's, both of them absolutely are a lot of fun to be around. And I thought them being on together would be a great thing. Now, so Denise, I do want you to talk about that. I don't know which one of you wants to go first, Linette or Denise, but it's just kind of a product testimonial. Of course, we know what product you're going to talk about, but Linette, you can talk about any product that you want, because like I say, they've had years of going to Tom Mower seniors, juniors, all these meetings, and just like I say, becoming product and ingredient gurus. And so they've got a lot of information in and of themselves. So Michael says, great sisters. What is the full name? Denise Servais' sister. Okay, so that's why I was confused, because when I was writing it down, I looked up Linette and I'm like, I don't see Servais. So I had to put Linette first and say Linette and Denise Servais. So Linette, Michael would like your full name, so he can maybe look you up or something or get in contact with you.
My name is Linette Servais.
No.
Yes. So Denise's maiden name is Servais. Her married name is Shaden, but she goes by it's Servais Shaden, so she goes by Servais a lot.
Oh. Okay.
I got married at 42. It's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, man.
Right?
Like I'm Servais for 42 years. I ain't switching nothing now.
So you are Servais too.
I'm Servais too, yeah. Servais.
That's where I got that from. That's Maureen's Product Junkies. All right. So we're going to start with that. Like I say, do either of you prefer who goes first?
Linette, why don't you go ahead?
Linette, so when you guys come on, tell how long you've been with Sisel, kind of some of your favorite products, a little bit about yourself, and then talk about some of your favorite products.
All right. I've been with Sisel since 2012. I'll back up to 2008 when I got a death sentence. And that led me on the path to, because the doctors were done with me they said there was nothing more they could do with me. It led me on a path to try to figure out what I can do for myself. And that led me to another company. And then from that, of course, once you get into the wellness field, you hear more about the wellness products. And we heard about Sisel. So before I had been in several direct sales companies, and I wanted to see the owner eyeball to eyeball to know that he had a heart. And that was the big thing that to me. So when New Year's of that year, when I was at a party and I cracked my tooth, went to the dentist wanted to extract it, wanted to do a root canal. And I was leaving to go meet Tom in Utah. And I said, not till I get back. It was the best decision I ever made, because when I met Denise and I were out there, when I met Tom, evidently at the table, I was going like this through the meeting because my tooth hurt. And Tom noticed it and he said, what's going on with you? And asked me if I was using Colgate or Crest. And I said, yes. And I told him that the tooth was cracked in the root canal and all that stuff. And he said, start using our toothpaste. He said, that tooth can be fixed. And I started using the toothpaste, and anyway, long story short, that tooth is still in my mouth, and I've never had it extracted. I've never had the root canal, and I have no pain with it. So that was a good thing that came out of my meeting. But the other thing that happened at that meeting was Tom said somebody asked him about why he was getting into a company. I don't know what his age was at that time, but at his age, and he said, what am I going to do? Sit on a beach? He said, to those who are given much, much is expected. And I can't meet my maker until I impact every person I can on this planet. And I am not kidding you. I was sitting there and around him, I saw this aura of a heart and I signed up. And I started taking the triangle, and I believe 100% I am here because of that triangle. I believe that has saved my life. The doctors have said that my immune system is not what it was back then, that they can't believe the difference in me. And so I can live my best life. Another quick product I have to talk about is Renovator, because I tore my meniscus when I was on the mountain and climbing the mountain in Arizona, and kind of being stubborn about it and I've kind of lost faith in doctors at the point when they told me there was nothing more they could do with me. So I was stubborn about going to the doctor, but then finally I thought, you know what? I need to know what's going on, because I was walking with a cane and I thought, I got to find out what's going on here. And anyway, found out I tore my meniscus. They wanted to do the surgery, whatever, and that my knee was full of arthritis. And I said, I clearly remember I was standing in the door of the greenhouse when the nurse called me and said that this was the situation. And I said, good, I know what it is now. I'm going to start taking Renovator and Fucoidan. And she said, if you think your products can help you, you're crazy. And she hung up the phone on me. Well, fast forward, I started taking the Renovator, and I think I was doing a little more Fucoidan than was normal. And fast forward, last year I fell and I hit the concrete with my knee, and I broke the bursa in my knee. And while they were doing all their x-rays and all the crap they were doing, I said, by any chance, can you see my meniscus? Because I took Renovator for, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months. And then I started taking it in not steady, but whenever I would feel a little pain, I would take it. Well, I'm taking it again now since the fall. But they said my meniscus was fine, nothing wrong with it. And I said, okay, how about the arthritis? And he said, there is no arthritis in your knee. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on about products, but that's just a brief testimonial of some of my favorites.
Well, I love that. And I was going to type it in the comments, but toothpaste is always in our top of sellers. It's always been something that's taken people by surprise. You know, they don't realize just such a different a formula that Tom puts together and how that can be different from everything out there. It's why we tell people to kind of start with that product many times, is because people really have a great experience with it. So, and, you know, talking about Tom, you know, honing in on any of my kids' stuff, you look at him in that meeting there with you and, you know, seeing you hold your cheek, you know, and he just was so observant that way. And he could see, you know, if somebody was having a problem or wanting to help, and he really enjoyed that. So I love that.
Yeah. I didn't even realize I was doing it. It was after that Denise said, yeah, you were, you know, I didn't even realize I was doing it because I was just trying to hold back the pain, I think. So, yeah.
I love it. Okay. You got anything else you want to talk about? You've had kind of a few spills this week or this year.
I could go on and on about products that, I mean, I have converted my home completely. Shampoo, conditioner, the dish soap. I go to Arizona, and I am not kidding you. I send a box of products because I'm using all those products while I'm in Arizona as well. And this year I had the opportunity to stay by my cousin for about 10 days. So I gave her some products. I gave her Rapid Repair. I gave her the dish soap. I gave her the laundry soap. I gave her the Organic Cleanse, and she loved them all. So
I love that.
Yeah, just sharing.
And one nice thing I've noticed, because, you know, I've seen you at some meetings and obviously see you on Facebook here and there, but you've had some spills this last year. and your recovery time and you keeping everybody up to date on that has been amazing.
It really has been, because I actually was just at the doctor today because trying to figure out if this is something neurological going on with me. But I think what it is that when I broke that bursa, I'm just not, because they watched my walk and I'm not lifting my foot up as much. And it's probably because of that pain. They could do surgery on it, but we've opted not to. We're going to try to see if it'll heal itself. So that's where I'm at now. So I'm doing Ficoidin more than normal too. But I take without fail. I mean, I have literally, because I'm trying to fix my heart. I had AFib. I have a 3-a-day, 7-day planner for pills, and I have every pill spread out throughout the day, so that from 9 to 11 I take this, from 11 to 1 I take this, and all the way up till 9 o'clock at night. But I think all the products are essential for what we need, and I don't know. I just can't say enough about the products and what they do, and the recovery time I think is a big thing. Mm-hmm. And so I've just got to watch my walk a little bit, that I'm more conscious of lifting that leg higher, and hopefully we can get this bursa, it'll repair itself. And so I'm trying to do everything that I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe a follow-up after this. We've had some testimonials, and distributors are very interested in what other distributors take for some of, their dailies, and then things they take for some of the issues that they might be having. So maybe after, I'll do a follow-up with you and kind of see what your regimen is, and share it with everybody after, if you don't mind, because that's always interesting to see how people take the products. It can be very different from each other.
Well, and I, without fail, every day I start my day with fire and ice. And then I drink, it's a 16-ounce container of, I put the triangle in and Ripped. And I drink that, at least one of those every single day. And I believe Ripped is amazing with recovery.
Absolutely. And Milo's got a great story on that with his mom and her knee. So I agree 100%. So, and that's kind of your drink throughout the day, huh?
Yeah, I have it. Yep. I have it. I drank it already today, but otherwise that's the first thing. I don't drink anything else until that's gone. Mm-hmm. And then if I have some more, maybe I might do Ficoidin and Spectramax, but I only do Eternity once a day, because Eternity, for whatever reason, gives me energy. And then if I take it too late in the day, I can't sleep at night. Mm-hmm. But I always put a Ripped in every time. If I take it twice a day, I get 2 Ripped.
Yeah, you get 2 Ripped.
I take Ripped twice.
We get it. You're there to party. Okay, that's awesome, Linette. I'm sure they're loving that. And I would like to know what you took through your recovery period, because there's been sometimes you've posted pictures, and boy, it's been pretty amazing to see the response that you've had as far as the products that you're taking, and some of the issues that you've had this year. So pick up that foot. We don't want you to fall anymore. All right, Miss Denise, why don't you start off with the cruise issue? Dad was going to go, he wanted to go snorkeling, and Thomas really wanted to go on mopeds around the city. And Dad said, I'll go with you guys. And they only had 2. And he's like, I'll just get on the back of Thomas. And we went just a little ways, and he's like, nope, I'm done. So we dropped him back off, and he said he was going to go snorkeling. When I got home later that night, he was like, no one told me that Denise has never snorkeled. And I said, I didn't know. He launched into this story of how she almost drowned, and then it's hilarious when he tells me the story, the pictures that she's got to follow it up. You see her just all over him. And he's like, she'd panic. And he says, and grab me. And it was hilarious. Have you never snorkeled before?
What can I say, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he was when we got done. Liesel told me that she said, because I did help him with, kind of walking on the sand because of his knees and stuff and whatnot. So something about me helping him. And it was like, well, I might have helped him, but he helped me too. Yeah. So it was quite the pair we were that day, I'll tell you.
Yeah, you guys were. So.
Yeah. So I was like, you put all this stuff on, your little finny things and your little mask and all this other stuff. And then I had my underwater camera. So he's like, oh, here, put that in your, like around your life vest here so that you don't lose it in the water and blah, blah. So we're doing that and we're doing this and I'm ready to go. And I jump off the boat, and I land in and my life jacket goes up over my head. And all that, I forgot to like buckle my life jacket. So poor Tom jumps in right behind me and he's trying to pull my life jacket down over me, which they're buoyant for a reason, right? So we're trying to get it on me and it's like it keeps floating up. And then the guide guy came over and the two of them are trying to pull this life jacket down over me. Thank God he had me hook my camera to it or my camera would have been gone in the first 2 seconds,
Yeah.
But then, we just had a really good time. And I clicked, the reason my camera was shut off before was because I switched devices so I could try to show you some pictures.
You got some?
You say.
Yes, share them.
Some picture. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it from device to device, but.
Yeah, we can kind of see it. Go over there. Perfect.
This was, this was us once things were a little more under control.
I love that.
Moving around, having a good old time.
I remember him saying that you jumped in and your life vest just went boom.
It did. It was like a jack in the box. It just popped right up over the top of me and right off of me it went. I'm like, oh, all this and I forgot to buckle my life jacket. Well, that was kind of dumb. So, then we got to the beach after and we had such a nice time. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
So that was just visiting on the beach afterward and
so cute.
Had an amazing time. We talked about life. We talked about you, Liesel. We talked about his family, his kids. I intentionally did not bring up anything about Sisel because I know that he gets bombarded with all that stuff. And I just wanted him to just be able to enjoy and not have to, not that he doesn't like sharing about that stuff and he's great, but I just want him to have, we really had like just a beautiful heart to heart. And it was like so special. I'll never forget it. So that was really nice. And while we were sitting talking, a big iguana or whatever comes like waddling past us and like it was just part of the whole scene. So yeah, we had a good time. This is kind of a cute picture of him. Wait, can you see it?
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, just kind of sitting, relaxing for the afternoon after he got done with his life-saving, experience. So he said he loved snorkeling so much, and so I got a good picture of him actually in the water.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, so it was really a good time. This was pre life jacket popping off of Denise. Right. Well, we were on the catamaran before we
in.
Hit the drink. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh, nice.
This is actually, I think my picture on one of them Facebook things that I don't understand, to be honest with you, but
it's pretty rare to have that time with Tom Sr. as a distributor. He's usually got a lot of people around him, the season meetings and stuff like that. So I know as you and I talked about that after, you were like, I just loved, I had him, to myself. And I appreciate, you just talking to him about personal stuff, and letting him have a relaxing time and talking about that. I think that's really sweet of you. So I'm glad you guys had that experience.
Yeah. it was great. And I am admittedly a Tom Senior junkie. I mean, everyone probably kind of knows that. I've traveled like all over the country just because I just learned so much every time I was at a meeting where he was at and whatnot. And so I feel very blessed to have been able to spend the kind of time with him that I have, like this, like you said, like personal time, but, the rest of the time just, at meetings. And again, a lot of personal time, whether it was just in the restaurant of passing or, so I have been very blessed, and I'm very much appreciative of that. And I
do have to say one funny thing about you is when you've been to a couple of our meetings in the last year. And I remember when we pulled up at the same time she did. And they come loaded for bear, they don't leave anything at home. And she comes out with this giant puffy desk, that you sit on your lap at home. And I think it's purple and just really big. And then she's got these pens that she writes with that have giant, things all over it. I said to Milo, what has she got? And so when I went over to you, I'm like, what do you have? You're like, my desk so I can write. And she just goes right to the front, sits on the front row there, pulls out her giant fluffy desk, grabs her pen and her drink. And I'm telling you, she's a sight to behold. And then she went to another meeting of ours like 6 months later, and out came that big old desk and her pen. So, I love that. I love people who are just themselves. So
never know.
Loving these stories.
You never know what to expect, huh?
So when did you join Sisel?
It would have been January of 2012. And I had, I'll be honest, I was totally like apprehensive. I just didn't, know anything about this. And I ended up flying out with two other people before signing up and going through the manufacturing plant first, and then meeting Tom. And we kind of went in I don't know if that's the boardroom or what down there, and at that time, he was talking about just releasing TSX, I think. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what he was talking about there that day. And it was just really interesting. And then, we kind of asked some tough questions, like about, what happens, when you're no spring chicken, what happens? And he said, well, if you think I'm going to have some snot-nosed grandkid or something come and take this over, and, not meaning, these guys or nothing, just talking in general. And, because that happens in so many business, and, wreck everything I've worked for my whole life, that's not going to happen. And, he just, and like Linette said, he had such a heart, and he just sat and talked with us, answered the tough questions. And it was really amazing. And then 2 months later is when Linette and I went out there, she came out, we did it again, went through the manufacturing plant, spent some time with him as well. And just really was blown away, by the plant, by him, how his vision was. And he talked about, where he sees this thing going. And, and then through all those times that I was able to spend with him, I mean, he said, he goes, this is just, I've been like he was kind of like given that mission to, take those talents that he's been given and really, make a difference in people's lives. And he looked right at me and he said, and I take that very seriously. And, obviously no one could deny that he certainly has done that over the years, and the family,
well, he made a big difference in your and Logan's life. So talk to us about how that all came about.
Okay. So, when Logan was young, he was, and I don't know why my camera it's like, I feel like I'm like in the dark here. I know, are you guys, can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The screen is doing funky things. So when Logan was little, like, when he was in kindergarten and the beginning of first grade, he was just, he was just wound tight all the time. He was just almost kind of wild and crazy. I mean, he wasn't sassy or hurtful or mean or nothing like that, but he was just wound tight, constantly. And he just couldn't focus in school because he was just like, wow, the teacher's talking and he's tapping the kid next to him on the head. And, in the halls, his hands are all over everybody and, just couldn't keep quiet. And it was an issue, and we were working with the teachers, and we tried some different things. We tried different bedtimes. We tried different foods. We tried, just kind of getting rid of like the colored eyes and just a lot of different things. And then they had a weighted vest. So it was a vest that had just like a little weight in the seam of it. And so they tried that, and it was just supposed to absorb, or just remind them to not be. It might have helped a little bit, but nothing really to speak of, very temporary. And then they had like this blue cushion that was like V-shaped, and it was for him to sit on to, again, absorb some of that wiggle and, settle him down a little bit. Well, I happened to be volunteering in that day because there was some pancake porky thing and we were making those for the kids. And all of a sudden I look and here Logan has that blue cushiony thing and he's like swinging it like he's going to lasso a cow. And I'm going, oh my God, this is not working. So I was at some event where Tom Sr. was at, and I talked with him about it. And, I was in tears because it's like, he just was really out of control. And every time I would say, and I didn't yell at him, but you had to talk to him about it and say, at Scouts last night, why were you doing this? Or why were you doing that in school? And every time he said, he would put his hands up over his face like this, and he would, I kind of stand up and he would bend at his knee and say, I don't know, Mom. And if I heard that once, I must have heard that 100 times, so it was like he didn't know. And one thing about Logan, he's very, very honest. So, I mean, if he did know, I'm sure he would have said it, because that's just how he is. He's very honest. So when I was talking with Tom, I was telling him about this. And of course, I'm in tears because it's not good. I mean, he's either going to just not do well in school, or he's going to hook up with kids that aren't making good choices, because, that's how that all works. And then it's kind of spirals from there.
And I remember you said that you volunteered in his class all the time just so you could kind of be a buffer there.
And I did. I did certainly, fortunately by then I had left the police department, and I was able to do that more. And the school he was at were really big on parent volunteers. I mean, they were huge on that. So they wanted that as much as they could get it. So I helped out, when I could and whatnot. And so Tom said, you know what, give him brain vitality. And, he said he can take the full amount, not an issue, whatnot. And he says, what'll happen is you'll see that'll turn around. And he said, besides that, what you'll see is his mental capacity, like over time, not immediately, but will increase by about a grade. And I thought, wow, this is good. And as I'm telling about Logan, I'm in tears and I'm crying, and, he's hugging me, and it's, so anyway, I went home and I started him on brain vitality, and I would give him.
Before you go into that, I just want you to say, I've heard this story, and it's the part that really just touches me is, when he went to you and he was frustrated himself.
Yeah.
And
he was.
He just kind of said something to you about, you needing a new little boy or something. And
right. He actually said, when I was talking to him about just trying to correct stuff and whatnot, he just said, Mom, he said, I think that I should just go to heaven and you should get a different little boy. Those were his words. And it's like, let me tell you, those are words that no mom ever wants to hear, because he was just frustrated. He was as frustrated as what anyone else was, because he didn't want to be like that. I mean, he didn't want to be like that. It was like he just couldn't control it. So that was very hard to hear. And I did tell Tom about that. And I think that's probably when I lost it, when I was talking with him. So yeah. So then I started him on that brain vitality, and I gave him one capsule on the way to school in the morning. And I didn't tell anybody, because I didn't tell the teachers, even though we were working real close on things that we were trying, because I didn't want them to think that they saw an improvement or be really like super looking for it. So I didn't tell them anything about it. And the first, that was on Monday morning. And on Wednesday, when I went to pick up Logan, because there's no busing there, I had to pick him up every day. The teacher said, "Hey, Denise, I used Logan for the model student today." And I'm just like, "What?" And she said, like everyone should be acting like Logan. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, you wouldn't have wanted everyone to act like Logan before this, but it must be good. So I'm like, oh, that's cool, and still didn't say anything. And then like another week went by, and then another week, and seemed like it was better in the morning than the afternoon. And then on the following Monday, I forgot to give it to him and I was out of town. So I sent the teacher an email and I said, "How was it today? How was Logan today?" And she said, "Oh, it was a nightmare. We had a fire drill. His hands were all over everyone in the hallway. He couldn't keep quiet. It was just bad." And I thought, oh my God, the one day I forgot to give it to him, I'm like, are you kidding me? So the next day I gave it to him again. And then that night I reiterated, I said, "So yesterday was really bad?" And she said, "It was." And she goes, "Otherwise lately it's been really good." She said, "He comes in, he's focused, he does his work." And she goes, "I don't know what happens at 11:45. I said, 11:45? What? And she said, "It's like it changes at 11:45. And at that point, it hit me that maybe that's wearing off at that time. So at this point, I finally break down and tell her, I said, "Well, I haven't told you this, but I've been giving him this all natural supplement on the way to school in the morning. And I forgot to give it to him yesterday." And at that time, she said, Can you give it to him again in the afternoon?" So we did, and changed child. I mean, totally changed child, to the point where, so that was in fall of first grade. And in third grade, the teacher actually wrote a narrative about him and said, of all the kids that he's ever had, in his teaching, he's never seen such a brilliant learner as Logan. Mm. And, so totally changing. Let me just pull this open once. Maybe you see me better now with a little more light. So he, in his narrative, he just talked about how when he applies himself, that he's just never seen such a brilliant learner, which made me go, wow, what Tom said is that, over time you'll see his mental capacity improve. And it really did. I mean, it did. And he's very sharp. He's, I still give him brain vitality today, and then I can still see a difference when he doesn't have it. I can see, he's much, he can be more edgy when something upsets him if he doesn't have it. He's much more calm. As a matter of fact, at one point he even said to me, he said, "Mom, I hate when you give me those brain control pills because I can't even be mad if I want to." So, and then I did talk with Tom Sr. after things improved at some event that I was at with him. And I was so happy telling him that. I was in tears again. So he's hugging me again to get me through it. And he said,
"That's what I love about your first story is when you went to him, I remember you saying you were just in tears. My dad gave you a big hug first."
I was because I was just so upset about this, because it's like, there's nothing good to come out of this. And I didn't want to put him on a bunch of drugs that were going to make him either whatever. I don't have to tell you, y'all know the side effects of all that stuff. So I didn't want to do that. So yeah, it was very emotional again when I told him that it had improved and how good it was. And he said, "You had brain or Super Omega Plus, and it'll even improve more." So that's kind of a good hint for someone that, that's looking for that type of thing too. So it's been a life changer. I mean, totally, like I can't even describe how life changing that has been in Logan's life and our lives. And he's just much happier. And, and obviously when he said, I don't know, Mom, I don't know. Obviously he didn't know, because if he knew once he got the right nutrients that are in that formula, it all changed. So there's no way he could have known, because he wasn't getting what he needed for the brain. So, and the brain vitality just kicked that right into gear. And yeah, I can't imagine life without brain vitality, honestly.
Well,
or Sisel, because Sisel is, I mean, you guys.
My dad had a son who had some struggles in school, and he probably told you that. He's passed away years ago, but my dad was always called to the school, to kind of help my brother. Brett was his name, and it was so hard on my dad because, like Logan, Brett, he just didn't know what to do, and I remember you saying once, that you've seen kids like that who are good kids, but because they can't, wrap their head around what needs to be done to kind of get through this, they end up being, like you said, people that you see when you were cops and have issues with that. And that's the sad thing, because there's nothing bad, wrong. They're not mean, they're
Absolutely.
just, yeah. So I like what you said about, they're just missing something in their diet and something that we can give them, that makes that better. So I'm sure my dad could relate to you on that, because he had a hard time with, my brother.
Right. I mean, yeah. So yeah, it's life-changing. Just for fun. This actually, I don't know if you guys can see this picture.
Oh, Logan.
This was actually when Logan met Tom Sr. for the first time.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool because, Logan knew it made a difference too. So
Absolutely.
For him to get to meet him, that was like a really, really special day in my heart honestly, for the two of them to actually get to
I bet.
Yeah.
Now, someone asked if he takes any other products, and if so, what ones do you have him on? If you don't mind saying at all.
Oh no. He takes the presently now he's 16 and he's probably 6'1" at least, and 200 some pounds, probably 200 pounds. Grown quite big. He's catching up to your dad here, and not then, but now he wouldn't have him yet, but he could start to give him a run for his money. So he takes Triangle of Life. He takes, during the whole like COVID thing, he took 3 Avengers every day, 2 Body Shield, and 1 Influence. And that, by the way, unbeknownst to us, he had like 6 or 7 warts on his toes that were, some were pretty good size, some were a little smaller, but they were there. And we had talked about, going and getting them taken care of. And I said, well, let's see if we can do something with Sisel first. And my friend said, don't even bother trying anything natural, because my daughter had them and we tried a bunch of stuff, not Sisel, to get rid of them, and nothing worked. And they had to go freeze them out or something like that. And it was really painful. But he took 3 Avenger, 2 Body Shield, and 1 Influence, and of course still the Triangle. But through those 3 were the 3 added on things. When the whole COVID thing started, and a couple months later, I thought, oh my God, we forgot all about them warts. I go, Logan, how are those warts? And I said, with everything, all this craziness, I totally forgot about looking up what we could maybe use. And he looks at his foot and he goes, Mom, they're gone. And I go, what? He goes, they're gone. And I said, they're not gone. I go, you must be looking at the wrong foot. So he looks at the other foot and he goes, nope, Mom, they're gone. He goes, there's not even a sign of them. So Something in those 3, and it would make sense because Influence is like antiviral type things and stuff. So those are gone. So he still takes those more so, like if there's any, like we both are on that. If we have any like a start of a scratchy throat, or where you just know like a cold is coming, we just hammer down on them, like hammer. Like for me, I might take, I don't know, 6, 7 Influence at a time, or Avenger at a time, 8 maybe down. And then I take Body Shield and I take Influence. And almost every time I cut it off at the pass, and it never comes to fruition. It just shuts it down. And he does that too. He also takes, he has some stomach issues sometimes. So he takes a couple Body Shield, not the full dose, but 2 or 3 of those a day. And I still kind of try to keep him on Avenger, because being in the schools and everything like that, brain vitality still, of course, sometimes Super Omega, not as much as we should probably. So those are some of the main things that he takes.
So which is awesome. And I was just saying, we'll have this and they'll be able to go through the call and see that. But you always talk about brain vitality because it's such a moving story. But as far as yourself, do you have a favorite that you love? And
I have like so many favorites.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I thought
I'd give you another. Well, and just the warts on his toes. I've actually had quite a few people talk about that and getting a resolution with Sisel, and even the really difficult plantar's warts on the bottom of people's feet that are really painful for people. We've had some people with really good results with that. So I appreciate that you brought that story up, and I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about any other products too, because I know you're always talking.
I'm just dialing in on my other phone too because I see my battery.
I was gonna say you're coming in.
It's just starting to die a little bit, so I don't want it all of a sudden to like knock me off. So if I'm coming in,
you are okay.
That would probably be good. So, so I absolutely love Fire and Ice. Some years ago, actually, when it first came out, I definitely lost a lot of weight with Fire and Ice and Sizzling. I did 2 Fire and Ice a day, and I replaced one meal with Sizzling. Oh boy. Okay, you gotta let me in.
Oh, I need to let you in?
Oh wait, because the screen went away somehow.
Okay. We can see you.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to admit you or not?
Admit me if you lose me.
I already just pressed it. And one thing, Linette, you can answer too often on here. Which one of you guys got into Sisel first? Because I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Denise did.
Gotcha.
We were, it's amazing the way it all happened because we were in a different company and the integrity in that company was not very good, but we were kind of hooked on the products. But when we heard about this, we kind of went in it a little bit kicking and screaming, but man, Tom turned us around on a dime.
Mm-hmm. I love that. One question they have is, does Logan take the age pill, Denise? Oh, you're unmuted. You're muted. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. He does not take the AG pill. No. And I don't know why. I guess I thought that was for us old people a little more, I guess. Mm-hmm. So no,
he's having good results with what you've got him on,
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's kind of what he takes. I like I was saying before, I lost really good, and I wouldn't even necessarily say so much weight as inches wise. Oh my gosh. I mean, It's unbelievable. Like the before and after picture from before it was right. They were having the weight loss challenge in must have been in 2014, I think, the end of 14. And I thought I got to do something. So I was by my friends over in Florida. Our neighbors here have a place in Florida. We were there. So I told her, can you take a picture of me? So she took a picture and it was bad. Really. I was really heavy. And then I started on the Fire and Ice. I think it was released right around that time. And like I said, did 2 of them and a Sizzling, and it was almost like magic. I mean, it was just like, I just didn't find, and I'm seeing this with Turn and Burn too. I don't find myself to be like really hungry and don't have the cravings for like I had before. And I really slimmed down. It was pretty amazing. And then kind of COVID came and I ate too much. So now I can kind of do it again.
Right. That's right.
Can I make a quick statement about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
When the Sizzling came out, I started taking it. So what happened in 98, I had a brain tumor and they removed the brain tumor, but where it was sitting, had it been a little bit over it, and I mean, like I'm talking like a sliver over, it would have been Cushing's disease. So they had told me that, and maybe putting this in my head wasn't a good idea either, but they had said that because it was so close to that line, that borderline for Cushing's, that I would gain weight until my organs gave out. And every year from 98, I started gaining probably about 8 8 to 10 pounds a year. And it was steady. And then when I started taking the Siseline, I haven't lost weight. It's a challenge. I'm really trying now with the turn and burn, giving it my all. But what happened was I stopped that yearly gain. So for me, that was huge because it was like, it wasn't taking it off, but it stopped that. So that was a blessing in disguise.
That is huge.
Yeah.
So your favorite product when you came in was the toothpaste. And Denise, what products were you attracted to most in Sisel as far as that you loved? You're muted. Girl, what is going on with you on this call?
When I first started, I don't know that actually, and I'm not a makeup wearer really much to speak of, but I really, and I know that we don't really have that at this point anymore, but I really like that little, like that mineral bronzer, as bizarre as that is.
Yeah.
But then I started on like the different, okay, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I never would have thought the bronzer got you into Sisel.
No, and it didn't. It just, I don't know what it was about that. It was like, well, this is kind of cool stuff because I don't even hardly wear makeup hardly at all. But yeah.
Oh, she would freak out. She would freak out if she didn't have the bronzer.
Yeah, I really like the bronzer. I do.
I actually might have some of those left over if you still want them.
Remember my name.
Well, it's always interesting to hear, how people came in. Let me see who said this to you. Maybe Michael or Mary. Other testimonials they're saying about mothers advising that the H pill also helps to improve behavior in addition to all the other physical benefits. So, just a little bit of info there from these guys on here. So,
and I think it was just all kind of part and parcel. I think once I went to the manufacturing plant and saw all that, and then met your dad, and really realized the heart and soul behind this, and it was like I've always been one that's been like totally into natural health. I mean, honestly, I don't even take aspirin. I had my dog had swimmer's tail one time when we were up north. So I called my vet friend and they said, just, you can give her aspirin, but it has to be aspirin. So we went to the little country store with my friend and we walk in and my friend goes, "Hey, there's Bayer." And I go, "No, it has to be aspirin." And she goes, "Denise, Bayer is aspirin."
All right.
So that's how much I don't do like that kind of stuff. I didn't even know Bayer was that. So, well, it just all the nutritionals in general. I love them. I'm like Linette. My whole house is converted. I didn't know I was putting dangerous chemicals on Logan when he was 3 and 4 years old. I do not. Nothing goes on him anymore. It is Sisel and Sisel only. Everything that I use is absolutely Sisel and nothing else. It's the only way to go. And the nutritionals, amazing. I mean, from Fire and Ice to Sport to, the AGE, love it. Love AGE. Oh my God. Yeah. So.
Well, you guys, I just look over at my phone. It's like 4 o'clock, an hour. Seriously. Sometimes they go fast. This one like flew. But Linette, I've never heard your brain tumor story. So I love that, I don't love that for you. And I'm glad though, like you said, that you were able to stop that, because imagine every year, I'm sure you're just wondering, as it goes on, that would be very hard. So I love that. And hopefully you've got that under control. These are such great products and people love to hear others' testimonials. And you guys have just been, such diehard Sisel distributors out there. So we're glad you came on. Let me get another question. And then I'll end this because honestly, I didn't know it was an hour. Has Denise or Linette had issues with inflammation with arthritis? Now, we had a testimonial from one of you in the that went back and checked their arthritis. Either of you want to say anything on that?
I did. My knee was, when they did I don't know what it was, an MRI or a CT or an X-ray, they were doing so much stuff on it. That at the time, that I found out the meniscus was tore, my knee was also full of arthritis, and now it's not. But I take Fucoidan, and I believe that the Fucoidan is what's helping with the arthritis, because anything itis is cellular inflammation. So I believe that the Fucoidan is supports sets up the healing of cellular, or the helping of cellular inflammation. So I'm a true believer in I won't go a day without it.
Yeah. And I thought that was your story, and such a great ability. Go ahead. Thanks.
And I had, Liesel, oddly enough, it was like I kind of forgot about it until later, but years ago, like pre-Sisel, I had these, like, there's actually still one of the lumps left, because it didn't go away, but it doesn't hurt anymore. But these lumps on your fingers that you get, and if you bump them, like anything, it's like almost like jump out of your skin. There's something, and I had a lot of trouble with that. And I started on the Triangle of Life when I joined Sisel, and hadn't even thought about it for years, but I'm now like 12 years older. So you would think that they should be like the size of mountains now and hurt more than ever. And they totally went away. I have nothing. I can bang them off anything. So in a world where they should have gotten worse, there's no issue anymore. So that's, I
actually have that same testimonial. And I started to get them on my fingers. And like you said, on my pinky, and you hit something with it and it hurts so bad. But I was really worried, that my hands, like you say, would just become kind of gnarly and hurt worse. And because mine started in my 30s, and I just started to really get, those bumps here and there, and just becoming, a faithful product user. I'm just like you. I haven't had those on my fingers for years and years and years.
Right. And I have a friend who couldn't shoot trap anymore because he was a huge trap shooter, because he couldn't even bend his hands because of arthritis and whatnot. He takes Fucoidan and Renovator, and he's just perfectly good. Plus the bonuses, his A1C is down, and he's just doing great. So
wow.
Yeah, so there's not enough thanks in the world to thank all you mowers and your dad and your brother and nephews and everyone else that's on it. You guys are great, and you got the same heart as your dad, and we love it.
Well, everybody's thanking you here on all these chats, telling you great information, great testimonials. Love you, ladies. And just want to tell you thanks for getting on this call. I know it's difficult with your guys' busy schedules that you're on, but we want to tell you thanks for being on. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Guys, we have just a few other things to talk about. And I'm going to ask anyone who's not in Australia or New Zealand if they can end their call with us. We've got a little bit of business to talk about for our country stuff. And again, thank you, Denise. Thank you, Linette. We absolutely loved it. And thanks anybody who is on here from any other place for joining us. And you're always welcome to as well. So
thank you.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Bye now.
Bye.
Okay. So guys, I'm not going to take a lot of time, because honestly, I did not realize that flew for me. I hope everyone's feeling the same way, but I want to talk to you guys about a few things that I just wanted our distributors to be on the call for. We are struggling, and I'm going to let anybody undo themselves, and let's not go too far into discussions, but the CBD is getting held at the border so often that we're thinking of just taking it off our product list. It's so hard because, we thought it would be NFR and easy like the rest of our products get in, but I know you guys see the struggles that some of you go through and other distributors, and it's a nightmare. And, sending more out and different, we're not sure what to do with that. I mean, we kind of decided that we would talk to everybody, and sorry about that. I want to make sure everybody is here who is from Australia. Okay. Let me see, I've got some chats. Is it about this? Because you guys can unmute yourself. Just talking with Tom about this. Which border, Michael? As it crosses over into Australia and stuff, products are being held. a lot of times we'll send out replacement CBD. It gets held. We only actually sell 3 or 4 a month. It's not a large number, but for the pain that everyone goes through, I would suggest, well, I'm going to talk to you about a suggestion. Obviously not ever sending with any of your other products, but we do have some product to get through. And I'm more than willing to offer it at 50% off and let you guys get as much as you want, but also knowing that we're probably going to pull it from Australia for a little bit because they're making it really difficult on our distributors to get it. And, it's hard. What does anybody want? And even then, talking with Tom, I said, I'd like to give everybody a chance to get some, here at the end if they want. And that's why we'd love to give you guys a really good price break on it. But like he says, there's still a possibility that will also get pulled or held. Anybody have any thoughts or anything?
Liesel?
Yes.
It's Jen here. Is it getting through if you put it with other products?
No, that's the problem.
They're pulling that up as well.
Yeah, they hold that whole order. They hold the whole order. That's why.
And what do they do? Send it back to Sisel?
Well, it's actually different with a lot of distributors. Some will hold it. Some, I don't get this. We've been working on this. Have been sent a fee. We're working on an Australia distributor right now who was given a bill for it. Basically, they'll send them a letter and say, this product, can't be sold here or whatever, and then the rest of the order many times it's in this hold pattern. And it's gotten worse instead of better. I kind of felt like, but yeah, the issue is definitely, I would have said the same thing, put it with, but they dig through those orders and find them.
Wow.
I know.
Liesel?
Yes.
It's Harry.
Hi, Harry.
I've got a solution for you.
Okay.
Everything needs to go through the Therapeutics Goods Association in Australia. And I think when you first brought it out, I'm not correct 100%, but I think it was mentioned in one of the talks or somewhere, I'm pretty sure I heard it, that Sisel had cleared it in Australia with the TGA. Now, if it's cleared with the TGA, I can't see why you'd be having any problems coming in, but you can check it out. It's the Therapeutics Goods Association.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
It's like the FDA of...
Go ahead.
It's like the FDA of America. So, and if you need to go back, because somebody, if they did make that resolution and direction 2 years ago, whenever we started to buy the product, and they said it was passed to come into Australia, I can't see why they've changed their direction on it without announcing it somehow to your company.
That's what I'm saying too. In fact,
yeah,
we even made sure that the CBD that goes into Australia was in order to be accepted there. So that's what I'm saying. And that's why we have some product that you guys can still have. And like I say, that's not my department. I'll talk to them about this, but these are, it's what they do all day long, at Sisel. And the frustrating thing is...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it needs following up. Somebody's got to follow it up and bring it to a conclusion one way or the other.
Yeah. The frustrating thing is to see someone who gets their order sent out again, held and sent out again. And I've had a couple people on number 4, and we can't do it anymore. It's super frustrating. The
other thing, when you have customs, I think when they hold back goods, you usually get a letter from customs to say that it's not going to go through. They notify you anyway. So I think that the company needs to have those notification letters to say, hey, listen, because it's a great product and anybody can say, look, I didn't get mine through. And they could be selling it Look, not everybody's honest, and they could be selling on the side, making a huge profit. I'm not saying that where there's an opportunity, they'll take it. Your product is not coming through, because I deal with another company too that uses CBD, and we use it in it's a patch anyway. It's like a Tesla patch, and they had the same issues in the beginning too. But they renamed it. What they did to get around it, they called it, they just called it something else now, So we call it WOW now instead of CBD, but it was CBD originally, but you couldn't use those letters or the words, Yeah. So now it's called WOW. And we get it through, dogs wear it and humans wear it, and we're still getting CBD through.
Yeah, and we got to be careful. I'm all for creatively thinking and doing stuff like that, as long as it doesn't look to them like we're trying to, do something illegal. Are you guys interested in getting some at 50% off before we kind of pull it? And like I say, this isn't the end of the product being in Australia. We've got to find out how we can get it there without any issues. Of course, it has to go economy. So right there, it's that lovely shipping method that everybody struggles with anyway. But yeah, they dig through orders and they pull it and then hold it. And it's just a freaking mess. So I thought I'd let it go for the next month. Anybody who wants to order it can get it at that price reduction. Again, you kind of take the order into your own hands as far as if it gets there or not, But anybody want to comment on that at all, or? Yeah.
Yes, Liesel, Michael here. Just a thought. I don't know if you want to go to the trouble of it, but I remember years ago, Tom Jr., or it might have been your dad, say that they wanted to get TGA approval before they sent CBD into Australia, because they knew that, there would be a problem, because Australia does have very, very strong border protection with respect to products like that. So, so then when they got TGA approval is basically regarded as the gold standard around the world. A lot of countries just say, if some company wants to get approval for their product in some other country like Germany, they say, "Oh, we've got TGA approval from Australia," and then they just rubber stamp it. They just say, "It's the worst you can get approval for." Well, worst in the sense that it's the hardest one to get. So I'm just saying that if Australian Customs is creating a lot of problems with you, they're probably breaking the law, because you have got TGA approval. Anybody can order it and get it into the country. So I would suggest, if you want to solve the problem permanently, then just take Australian Customs to court. Yeah, in Australia, that can be done. You can take Australian government entities to court, High Court or some other court, and then you'll probably win your case because you've got TGA approval. I don't see any problem with that. There's
obviously something, and I can't remember if it was that it had to be manufactured in Australia to, there was some little glitch. And trust me, we've looked, this over, forward, and back, and at 3 or 4 a month, it's difficult to really put a lot of resources and money and, lawsuits with it like that, because it's just not a product a lot of people get. Like I say, we're not giving up on it for sure. And, because we did get approval on the formula, we changed the formula, for Australia. And that's the product that we've got.
Sorry, several years ago, Tom's previous company, a few things happened. One of the advantages as far as bringing things through New Zealand is because Australia and New Zealand have an unrestricted sort of trade agreement. So a lot of things that come to Australia often come via New Zealand, simply because of that, because of the trade agreement or the I forget what it's called, but through that way. With the previous company, what I think it was John Hunter at the time.
Right.
He actually organised a lot of stuff was coming into Australia incorrectly, and there was a lot of stuff that was being developed in New Zealand as well.
Right.
So what he did is that anything that came into Australia, and from what I understand, that's the agreement Sisel has with Australia, it's for personal use. We're not actually allowed to sell it. And so anything that came from New Zealand, which was for personal use, it was actually labelled, and it was limited to a certain amount of products. As well as that, sorry, I'm just losing the train of thought for a second. So it was just came in for personal use. It was labelled as a personal use, and we were only limited to a certain amount of products we could order from New Zealand at that time. And that was because of the trade agreement Australia and New Zealand have.
Yeah, things are very different now, obviously.
Yes, they could be. But something else John Hunter did, and we were having trouble with a lot of people used a product, how can I say it? It was called Second Chance. And it was to do with helping people who were suffering from male pattern baldness.
Right.
And so what John did, the TGA was stopping it, all sorts of problems, left, right and centre was stopping it. So, and he got fed up with dealing with them. So we actually sent all the information in to the TGA and the appropriate authorities and asked them, please, you tell me what I'm allowed to put on the brochure, what I'm allowed to say. And so they actually came back with all the information, and John actually said, they came back with more that I would have even put in myself. So, but that was a tactic he used. I'm not saying anything will work or whatever. It's just some thoughts. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly don't mind, Harry's suggestion if we put it under a name and people order it and stuff like that, and being creative like that. We'll have to have some of these things kind of vetted out. The reality is, I'm thinking of, let me let Pam in, of leaving it up if anybody wants to order in the next month, and I'll change the price on Monday, and just whoever wants to get it during that time can. We'll keep working on a way to get it in country where it just doesn't keep getting pulled, stopped, held, letters and stuff like that, because especially with distributors who put other products with it, you can imagine how frustrated you'd be when you don't get the others. And there goes the hunt for that package. Will they send it? And I've had distributors say that some of the other products weren't in there either. So yeah, I know we need that too, Sandy, for sure. So we're working. This isn't anything permanent. I'm sure there's got to be a way, but the reality is right now it's causing way too many problems for our distributors than anything else. So if it were selling a lot, then it might be something that we could put a few more resources into. But like I say, just a few a month really is what's going on. So if anyone is not against that, I'll do that and send out an email letting you guys know. Customer service is already aware that this is a possibility. And Michael, that's what we've had people do, is just buy the CBD. With this price break, it will just be CBD. I mean, my suggestion to people is don't send it with products anymore. It derails your product order. And a lot of people are claiming, there's a couple who don't ever see their order again, and we send it out again. So yeah, I mean, it's got to just be an order on its own that you want. If you love it, maybe at that price, you can get some. that will last you, 6 months, maybe to a year. And yes, Pam, customer service will have the 50% off. So I want to talk to you guys first about this today. So I'll have to get there on Monday and put that paperwork together, and then have somebody go in and make sure it's all ready. So it probably would be Tuesday, your Wednesday, where you're able to get it at 50% off. But let anyone know, and then I'll just keep updating you. We'll keep working on it. Customers, okay, in our ownership, not just give you a credit. Yeah, I agree, Sandy. I agree. I'll bring this up in one of our next meetings. Our next call is on, now those of you guys who won, Jen, a product, and I wanted to see if you wanted to wait and see if you wanted the turn and burn, or maybe you wanted the Sisel soak. And what was the other one that we talked about on our last call?
I want the turn and burn, Liesel.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem at all. Okay. And then our next call is on March 10th, but I'm putting a call together this week. I'll send out an invite to some of our distributors to talk about some meetings that we'll hold there. It looks like in May. So this is going to be exciting. So we'll have some fun things to do and to bring through there. I'm possibly thinking of waiting just a little bit more, because the next month, you guys are going to love the new products that are coming out. And I would love to take that tour with all these new products. So I'm going to put a call together where we can kind of talk about that. I don't want to put it off too long, but you guys are just going to love what's coming out. It's big. It's big, big, big. I even had a distributor on the call today kind of bring it up, and I was like, well, yeah, I want to say so bad what it is, but it would be a great time to do those meetings is with all this new product that we could do training on too, and really get everybody excited for, because it's, like I say, it's big. It's really big and very cool. Been working on this for the last year, and we'll have it ready by Mower Mountain, maybe before I think we're talking about, and that's when I'd like to work on our meeting with this. So I'll send some invites out. Those of you who can be on the call, great. If you can't, great. I just want to pass it by some of you guys, if that's okay. And that's it for me. Does anybody have anything else they need to talk about? Weren't those two a hoot? I'll tell you that, Denise, is crazy. But they're a lot of fun. I can't believe I thought their husbands were brothers. I bet you I've told 100 people that. It's so embarrassing. I almost put it on my post, you guys. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. And they know the products inside out. And it's kind of fun to get their testimonials on it, and great testimonials at that. So if anyone after this call has any, just kind of moving it through your brain as far as call it Central Business District, Michael, that's a good idea. Anything that they, want to add to the CBD chat, send me a message. I'm open to any and all suggestions. And I just want to make sure you guys get it. And it can be a pricey thing. And maybe I can even drop the discount a little bit more. Let me work on it on Monday so that you guys can get several at a time, have it on hand for until we can get this taken care of with TGA or customs or whoever it is that's going to be the issue here. So with that, guys, I appreciate you hanging on for me. It's 4:22. That's a long time for your morning. Pam, you're welcome. It was a great call, a fun call. Went by that so freaking fast to me. So you guys are awesome. Thank you. And I'll be talking with those of you who will join me on this upcoming call this next week. And we'll talk to you then. See you, everybody.
Thanks, Liesel. Thanks for inviting Denise and Linette on. And I think it was a reasonable thought that they were married to brothers, because you knew at least one of them was married, and they still got both surnames. So it's sort of reasonable assumption to do that. But
I
anyway,
don't know if they just haven't heard me.
Yeah,
I've talked about how, you know, how people like will nod their heads. But I've said a couple times, like, is it so weird having brothers, this husband? And they'll be like, mm-hmm. And I'm like, now I think of all these weird conversations I've had with them that I'm sure they don't even know what I'm talking about. So who knows?
You might be having a premonition, Liesel.
What was that, Harry?
You might be having a premonition. A vision.
Oh, maybe, huh? I hope so.
Who knows?
It was hilarious. In fact, the last dinner we had with her, we were talking about her husband, and I swear that was brought up with that. And she said, she says, yes, my husband knew so-and-so. And we were at a big table. This was just 2 months ago when we were there for the Amish in Indiana and stuff. And they drove that whole way and just super loud in front of everybody. She's just like, and I said, now, when did you meet your husband? And she said, out of high school a little bit. And I think he maybe was a cop too. I can't remember. And I'm like, well, you guys have been together that a long time. She says, oh yeah, I wish I would have married. And she says, this guy's name. She says, oh, I was so hot for him. And I burst out laughing. And I'm like, okay, Denise, well, it seems like things are good where you are now. She just says what's ever on her mind. I mean, the whole table went silent when she did. You have a whole bunch of Amish people, and Denise is out there fantasizing about some guy she wished she would have married other than her husband. And it was hilarious. Smile and I were just cracking up. But it's fun to have them on the call and have a good time. And I'll tell you, my dad, this is the funny thing is I said to Denise, help my dad because his knees are really bad right now. And I told my dad, Denise will kind of help you. And he came back and said, she didn't help me. I helped her. She almost drowned. She's never been snorkeling. I said, she hasn't? He said, no. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but he had a good time. And their pictures are very fun. So guys, thank you for your morning and have a great weekend.